ever had.
Sure.
It'll finally dethrone season 1 as kind of like the overall best consistent run of episodes. But still, it's like, yeah, just again a little bit more polishing. But maybe they'll get there next year.
I hope so.
Or maybe next week will be complete shit and we'll be back to wanting to slit our wrist again.
Well, we'll find out because that's the end of the episode.
Yeah. Before we get to feedback, a little bit of pimping. Something me and Jim are excited about is our new Club Bald Move. You can find all about it at club.baldmove.com, where you can support us for as little as $1 a month, and you get a lot of cool free features. One thing that seems to be really popular is the live watch technology we've got, which I realize is a little hard to explain. So what we've done is edited out a few choice clips from this week's live watch show, and we're going to preview them here for your enjoyment. Hashtag keep walking. It's not as effective as that Hardwick behind it.
He's done a lot better job not jumping in and just fucking...
Pete's beating the shit out of Jesse and maybe his kid. Hashtag keep walking. We're supposed to be disturbed by this behavior. I mean, a couple podcasts guys on record as like, I would do this for sport. You know?
I'm all of a sudden disturbed.
You know what? Tom Cruise's body and face is enough to make me want to explore Scientology.
He must be doing something right.
I'm just saying. Went back to Indianapolis and I had lunch with my grandfather, my 87-year-old grandfather. Tried to explain to him what I do for a living.
Oh, Jesus.
He's proud of me. He just doesn't know for what.
There's a guy covered in blood waving a gun around.
Could we end our podcast like that?
Sure.
Hey, Ron sliding out on his chair. Anyway, if that's something that sounds interesting or funny, something you want to get in on real time, go to club.baldmove.com where you can find out all about the other cool features such as ad-free feeds, live podcast recordings, and lunches with the Jim and Aarons, among others. Again, club.baldmove.com where you can join for as low as $1 a month. All right, let's get to feedback. Mark M. said, we know things aren't good in Alexander because there is now a big-ass broken window. Metaphor, man.
Yeah, he talked about the broken window.
I like it.
Whatever, last episode.
He's joking here, but I actually think that's kind of...
Yeah, I'm almost certain that is just a little cute thing that they did.
Especially since we talked about it being kind of a criticized form of policing, and Rick's form of policing is being very much criticized here. George S. wants us to hear us talk about what we think is going to happen as far as these following plot lines, or whether they'll be addressed in the finale, and if we have any others that he's forgotten.
Okay.
Pete versus Rick. That will be addressed.
I think that was addressed this episode.
Well, but I mean, what are they going to do? Is Pete going to lose? Is Pete going to get exiled? Is Rick going to get exiled? Are they both going to get exiled? Okay. Are they going to form the first Alexandria jail?
Will neither get exiled?
Will the show just continue to pace? Will we be dealing with Pete versus Rick for the next season?
They'll just end the show there. There is no next episode.
Rick versus Deanna. Are we gonna deal with that? Is she going to make a definitive stance on one Rick Grimes?
I think she is. I don't want to spoil anything from the trailers, but there's indication that she is. Yeah.
Okay. What about Dickless has a gun? That plot. Are we going to get resolution on that?
Yes.
I feel like they can't show it in this episode and then
not deliver this season.
Yeah. But there's a lot of this stuff, and they're starting to add up. Father Gabriel's betrayal.
I don't think that was meant to go anywhere.
Really?
I think that was meant to warn Deanna, and that was it.
But by go anywhere, you think that Father Gabriel can face no consequences for that kind of dickhead behavior?
Yes. Although, no, Maggie heard him.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't think they'll deal with that
If it was just Deanna, fine. Oh, man. So that's a big enough
Or
thread.
I guess when... fuck, I want to talk about the stuff in the previews.
All right, we'll tune in the spoiler section for more on that.
Son of a bitch.
How about the wolves? Are we going to fucking have the wolves come to it?
Yes, we absolutely have to have an indication as to who the wolves are.
It feels like Daryl and Aaron are about to make contact with the wolves.
Yeah, they're right behind him. Like he says, this just happened.
Yes.
When he comes up on the lady on the tree.
How about Morgan? They fucking teased him all last season. He has not been hide nor hair in this season. Are we going to see Morgan? If not, is that the stupidest teaser, spoiler, and stinger in the history of seasons?
I'm going to say no. No, we're not going to see him.
Then it is stupid.
I know.
I know. So dumb. I mean, unless the only reason is to keep Lenny James. I want to say Lenny Bruce.
I know.
Lenny James under contract. That's the only way that's acceptable. Like he has to have at least 60 seconds of screen time per season, or I don't know. His rookie contract expires and they have to pay him $50 million a year. I can't explain why else they would do that. But
yeah, I don't know. He's probably coming back, but I'm going to say no anyway.
Maybe the extra 10 minutes next episode is just Morgan.
All Morgan. Yep.
All Morgan all the time. Sasha coming to peace or acceptance of or finding a role in this world.
No.
Yeah, I don't need to see that.
I think she's going to stay crazy at least till next season.
I think they're gonna have their hands full with the Rick versus Deanna.
Yep.
Dickless has a gun.
Pete.
Father Gabriel's, because I do think they have to address that.
Yeah.
The Wolves and Morgan. Those are the minimum things I feel like they have to address, and they've got, say, 60 to 70 minutes to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a full episode. It's a full episode. I'm kind of excited. Sarah from Ice Planet Hoth, which has the definitive take on Rick and Jesse.
Okay.
Rick still got she entitled her episode or her feedback as Rick still got that roiling feeling. Whoa, that roiling feeling.
All right.
Anyway, I think Rick's behavior has evolved pretty naturally over the past few weeks. Let's review. 2 weeks ago, Rick gets drunk for the first time in ages. Through his boozy haze, he realizes he's attracted to Jesse as a romantic object for him and as a maternal object for his kids. Rick is roiling inside because he got all this stored animal aggression built up, confronting so much violence over the last months. It occurs to him that he could take Jesse, but he keeps his impulse in check. Mm-hmm. Not quite in check, he does let slip the gentlest of aggressions with a charged kiss on
eyeball kiss.
Jesse's cheek. Yeah, she's charitable. It was an eyeball.
Yes. Tongue to eye
Gave
contact.
her free lens cleaning.
My contact. Oh, shit.
Rick treads the line of civility there. The gesture is rash at best and lecherous at worst, but at least he doesn't do anything worse than that, not compared with what he's capable of. When Rick sees Jesse and Pete walking arm in arm the next day, Rick feels for his hidden gun in a gesture born of habit. It's an action that bypasses his conscious brain. He knows he wants Jesse, and his gut tells him something is off about Pete. Feeling for your weapon like that, it's just what you do. Say, if you're on a watchtower lookout and you see a potential threat on the horizon, you're poised in case a potential threat becomes an actual threat. Last week, I totally agree with Aaron's take on the Jesse-Rick-Pete interaction. I think Rick was feeling a bit weird around Jesse because he knew he'd stepped over the line, and I think Rick would have clocked Pete when Pete made his creepy beer visit, again, if it weren't for that kiss. So his awkwardness and guilt all around restrained him.
Okay.
Last night, Rick now knows that Pete is a violent aggressor. Combine that with Rick's romantic and sexual feelings for Jesse. Combine that further with his roiling animal aggression.
He's justified now.
He's Raylan Givens.
Yep.
He's not roiling, he's Raylaning. In short, Rick is a volatile mess right now. I think when Jesse asks Rick if he would go to the trouble of protecting anyone in her situation, she's really asking him if he has feelings for her. When Rick says no, I think he is confirming to her that yes, he does have feelings for her. What do you think about in other words, I would agree that with Aaron that Rick would even now go at least some length to save any vulnerable citizen suffering at the hands of the abuser. It's just that in this scene, despite their words, it's not what Jesse and Rick are really talking about. What do you think about that particular part of the take? That this was almost an I love you more than it was a check on your moral character.
It was and his response was very Han Solo. I don't know, man. I could see that argument being made, but it feels like a bad idea to start, I don't know, that kind of relationship out with a lie.
Well, and I don't
know.
Yeah, I don't know that I...
Although, there aren't very many Disney tales that start out with the sexually jealous guy beating a woman's husband to death in the streets.
Sure.
That doesn't go happily ever after,
sure.
I'm pretty sure. So that relationship is doomed from the start.
Yeah, I guess it's one of those things where the theory does fit all of the facts at hand. It's just what your interpretation is. And it's one of those things where we don't have enough context from the episode to decide whether it's right or wrong.
I mean, I could see it being right.
There's a couple other theories down later. I want to finish this one. Rick does attempt to resolve the situation through the law. Despite all this, he keeps his aggression in check when he passes up an opportunity to execute Pete in the opening. Instead, he urges Deanna to enforce a domestic separation for a couple. That is a perfectly rational solution, one that Deanna should have taken seriously, but she doesn't because Deanna needs Pete's services as a doctor. Slabtown Don tacitly approved the use of women as sexual slaves in exchange for men's agreement to enforce security. Deanna tacitly approves the use of Jesse as a punching bag for Pete's aggression in exchange for continuation of his medical services. Both are despicable strategies, and neither are very civilized in my books. Do you think that's in a deliberate parallel they're trying to show? Two women in charge, two making deals with the devil for their security.
Oh, I mean, I don't even know if it has anything to do with them both being women, but
I'm not saying,
is a similar situation.
I'm not saying that in the raving misogynist sense of the word. I'm saying that in the
okay, I would hope.
I would hope I have enough cred that no one would think that, but I just want to be clear. I'm not saying
you're pointing out parallels.
I'm saying that this is a thematic choice, not a women are fucking helpless and scheming.
Sure. I think they're definitely pointing out parallels here. I don't. If you try to tell me that it wasn't similar, I would say you're crazy.
Also, it's like it seems like that's a natural retort to Deanna. You're saying this is civilized, but let's really break that down. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, she seems to equate killing someone with lack of civilization, and I don't know that I buy that on a basic fundamental level.
Yeah, it's something I struggle with too.
It's like, I'm not saying here that I'm all for capital punishment. I don't know. Sometimes the punishment needs to fit the crime, and if the crime is bad enough, and the person is not helpable, maybe. And I don't want to get into this argument here because I haven't thought about it, frankly.
I'm not going to argue with you, but I used to be for capital punishment. The only reason I'm not is because, like, the Innocence Project and just how many
people can be rehabilitated, certainly.
And not just that, but how many innocent people we do tend to convict, and the fact that you would kill someone like that is just more than I can bear.
Certainly. But here, that is not the scenario, right?
In this world, I don't have any problem with killing people that need to be killed. If there's like this evidence is clear cut like this. I mean, last episode, I thought it was premature to be talking about killing Pete. Because of all the problems. People are like, this seemed to be jumped to conclusions. But this is pretty much proof.
I mean, it's Carol saying that the kid told her something.
But then Rick went to Jesse and she confirmed it. This is either the longest con for Jesse to try to unjustly murder her husband, or
who she's been abusing the whole time.
And frankly, the bar for evidence is lower in the zombie apocalypse. I'm wanting to say too.
Probably
a lot more innocent people are going to be killed to save many more innocent people. But
yeah. I mean, my point is just to say I don't know that there is inherently anything uncivilized about killing people as punishment.
No, yeah.
Torturing,
sure, but
I'm not making the argument that there isn't. I'm just saying I don't know that there isn't, and maybe I could be swayed.
It seems a black and white argument that killing people for whatever reason is uncivilized always is a very stupid argument.
Any argument that has very nuanced.
Any argument has no nuance, I think, is a stupid argument.
Sure.
And that's in the real world, let alone a world infested by zombies,
Yeah. I just have not considered it enough to make that call.
Anyway, really enjoyed the take there. Appreciate you sending it in, Sarah. Hope it warms up in Hoth. Garth R has another take on Rick, or as I like to call him, Garther.
Okay.
We know it was clumsy, but I'm wondering if the scene between Rick and Jesse was meant to go more along the lines of, would you do this for anyone? No, not anymore. Instead of the flat no we got in the episode. For the sake of 2 extra words, I think that we as viewers would have gotten a very different impression of the scene, rather than it feeling like Rick was telling Jesse that it was
But he just told Carol earlier in this episode that he would have.
Yes. That's the thing, yes.
So unless he changed his mind between scene 2 and scene 12... this episode, then I don't think that's
but
valid.
He could, I don't know, because him saying yes you would have could be, that's historically accurate, that the Rick I wouldn't have let that happen to you. because, you know, you're in my group and et cetera, et cetera. It doesn't mean that that would be forever always his default action is to save someone.
No, but he made that point this episode.
No, I'm playing internet advocate. To me, that's the thing. If they were trying to do this more,
he would have to be very
stuff,
self-aware of who he was at the time and how he has changed, and I don't think that's Rick, honestly.
So it's got to be intentional. There's another here. Let me go to this next. Well, maybe I guess that's kind of Sarah's point from Hoth, is that he was telling her what, or someone else had a take, and I must have deleted it when I shifted everything around in the Rick theory section, that he was trying to make a gut call about what she needed to hear, and she she wanted to make sure that not only was she saying yes to being saved by this abusive husband, but also yes to a person that can be a father for her kids and to take care of them and do all that stuff too. She was looking for not just momentarily security, but like true security.
So lying to her is the civilized thing to do there?
It's not civilized, but it does happen. People lie to each other every fucking day.
Sure, but you can't talk about civility out of one side of your mouth. And
Rick's not arguing for civility.
Oh, that's true.
So
he's arguing for beating people in the streets.
Let me back you right up there.
I don't know, man. The idea that he's saying something that he's not saying is, I guess, valid, but I still don't. It just doesn't feel right.
It also seems like a pointless gamble to like. I'm guessing what you want to hear. No, because when he first said that, I thought she was wanting to hear him say no, that he's not going all this way just because he's attracted her, because that was a way of her saying that just because you.
Well, I don't want to be. He does say no. She asked him, "Would you do this for anyone?" He says no.
But what I'm saying, if he says I'm saying that it's a fair bet that she could have said she wanted to hear him say yes.
Yeah.
Because she might want to be saved, but she might not want to be obligated to Rick. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like, well, just because you saved me from this situation doesn't mean I want to shack up with you. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to need time to grieve for my husband, who I love, even though, you know, like, I think it's weird that Rick took the gamble. I mean, all I'm saying is it could have backfired if he's just gambling with answering randomly. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Yeah.
I guess that's what I'm trying to point out, that maybe one of the twists is going to be that Jesse doesn't really like Rick romantically. Although it does seem like they have a lot of chemistry.
Yeah, they do.
Anyway, moving on. Let me see if I can find where I was at. Jeremy R. So this is something that's a little bit audio. This is an audio-visual thing. I've shown Jim these pictures. I'm going to post them in the show notes. But Jeremy R. says, the show has been teasing Morgan's return all season long with only one episode left. Something has to happen next week, right? I can't take credit for this, but someone on Reddit posted images of the severed limbs that Daryl and Aaron found. The clothing on the dismembered arms looks very similar to what Morgan has been wearing all season long. There's also a wedding band which looks almost identical to the one that Morgan wears on his left arm. Mm-hmm. Also, the sunglasses that Morgan's wearing in the episode, or in previous episodes, are laying there as well. Or it looks like it. It's with the image I had, it's kind of tough to tell. Has Morgan been captured by the wolves? Is his torso going to be catapulted towards the group? I guess we'll see. Links to pictures.
I'm rooting for trebuchet zombie torsos.
So
coming over the cold roll walls.
What this picture is a pair of arms belonging to a black gentleman who is wearing a wedding ring, and he's wearing khaki-colored long sleeve shirt, windbreaker type shirt with the sleeves rolled up, which is exactly what Morgan is wearing in the season stingers that we saw. And it's probably the glasses, but I'm not 100% willing to say that that's what that is laying in the grass. The glasses that he was wearing too. Mm-hmm. What do you think about this theory?
So there are a couple of big questions I have. One of which is
a really deep foreshadowing Easter egg.
It could be. It could definitely be. I mean, the windbreaker looks identical. The ring looks very similar, if not identical.
I mean, it's a gold wedding band. I mean,
the problem I have with it is that all of the recent, like, you know, Mad Max style Morgan shots we have, he's wearing gloves, like fingerless gloves, which are not on those dismembered arms. So he would have had to taken the gloves off
Yeah.
which I don't know why he would
he
do
could
that.
take the thing is, I think the point I see the point you're trying to make. I think the point
Like, that's a big flaw.
Also, if the prop department is honestly trying to dress these arms up to make us think Morgan, why would they have him take the gloves off?
Maybe because it's too on the nose and people would immediately go, Morgan. They want to hint at it, not reveal it.
Now you're playing internet advocate.
Sure, yeah. But no, I think the gloves are a huge glaring flaw in that. I
mean, they could be
theory.
Trying to show the wedding ring, which they couldn't if they had the gloves on.
Yeah.
I guess they could have one glove off to show his ring and one glove on to verify it's Morgan. It's such a quick cut. I can't believe that they would expect everyone to be going through here and getting spoiled. I mean, this is like,
and that's why I think that maybe they were just hinting at it and not revealing it. But I don't know. The gloves are a problem.
How would you feel if next time we see Morgan, he is a reanimated torso? That feels still like a bunch of bullshit for all the teasing we've seen.
Well, that's kind of why I feel like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how you get Morgan back into this story this season. Like, Aaron and Daryl just find him? Are we going to deal with Morgan and the Wolves and Pete and Deanna and Rick?
It would be cool if they
and Father Gabriel. Like, how many issues are we going to deal with in this final episode?
Right. It would be cool if they saw Morgan and like saved him from the Wolves. But the problem I have with that is that, again, as we discussed, Daryl has never met Morgan.
Sure.
And Aaron sure as hell hasn't met him. So they would have to be deciding to save one random tied up dude from another random group of dudes. Like, for all they know, the one guy they tied up is the maniac that they've been able to successfully detain. So, yeah, I don't hold much hope for that. But seeing him as just a zombified head is going to be super disappointing to me.
What if they go...
I feel bad for Lenny at that point.
Season 6, Episode 1 is a flashback of Morgan.
Okay.
And then leading up to him being caught by the wolves, dismembered, and then that shot again.
I mean, if it's a substantial new information, a substantial new scene that they'd shoot that would really give me some detailed insight in his character, I'd still feel cheated because I want to see Morgan and Rick back together. I want to see a healthier Morgan and how he deals with Rick and all this stuff.
Okay.
Plus, he's a really good actor.
He is. He's fantastic.
He knocks it out of the park every single time he's on the show. He gives a shit, and we could use more of those guys. So, anyway, thanks for that, Jeremy. Justin G said, is Carol not the perfect post-apocalyptic wife ever? Not only is she on Rambo level of badassness, but she's apparently a mean-ass cook in the kitchen and will look after your kid. If I'm Rick, I'm seriously torn between the utter hotness of Michonne's ass and Carol's overall awesomeness.
Which it's looking pretty good in the wake-up scene.
Don't frequently objectify women on this podcast, but Michonne, damn, when she was she was distressed over her uniform and wearing the tight leather pants.
Sure.
Good,
Nothing
nice
wrong with
work.
that.
Nice work.
Yep. Tara would have given her a fist bump.
Tara would have definitely given her a fist bump and want to know she had plans on Friday. Slowness said, I think Rick has been nuts from the minute they got to Alexandria. Frankly, I think even on his good days, he is right on the edge of completely mentally losing it. But Alexandria has finally flipped his lid. When he kissed Jesse at the cocktail party, I was waiting for Lori to walk through the room with her white dress and a martini in her hand. My take on the whole Alexandria thing has been cracking like an egg since they walked through the gates. Rick waving his gun around reminded me of the prison when he was waving his gun around when Sasha and Tyree showed up. I really feel bad for him. His whole MO is keeping people safe before the walkers, and now. The last time he tried to be cool was with the governor, and Herschel ended up dying. I think that kicked his ass. If you think about this experience he is in, where he has told himself he is justified in doing horrible, god-awful, brutal things because this is how you keep people safe and survive, then he gets to this place where people have survived without doing all that. Alexander itself is messing with his whole set of justifications of who he is and how he has behaved. Just something that we kind of danced around.
I didn't dance around it. You poo-pooed on it.
Well, I was taking Rick's side. That, like, in the back of his mind, he's always saying, well, they didn't have a tank show up in their gates, but they're still safe. Yeah. Well, they didn't have to deal with cannibals, and yet they're surviving.
That's the point I made, yeah. It could be that. But, yeah, Rick is, Rick's questioning a lot of things at this point.
Anyway, she continues, this is another alternate take with Rick. If he buys that you can survive without being brutal, then how does he live with what he himself has done? That's my take on it. Jesse said, would you do this for anyone? He said no. I don't think Rick meant only for hotties like you, babe. I think he was thinking about all the people he hasn't done it for, starting with the orange backpack guy, which is still one of my most horrifying things ever for this show. Maybe I'm filling in for poor writing, but that's how I read it. What do you think about that?
That this is a conditional no?
Yeah, essentially.
That it's like a Carol, sure. Jesse, sure. Backpack guy,
Red
no.
and backpack guy, no. Yeah. Alexandrians, I don't have the hots for, no.
Yeah, I suppose so.
It's still
less than satisfying.
It doesn't take away from any of the criticisms we had on it. Dan from Philly wonders, if you're going to scout for recruits, why wouldn't you have binoculars or at least night vision scopes? They have suppressors on their guns and night scopes on Sasha's rifle, but absolutely nothing to scout out possible new people from a safe distance. Daryl's also riding a bike in here 5 miles away, so
yeah,
they are not really taking a lot of practical scouting.
That's the
advice
thing,
here.
man. I'm listening back to We're Live, the zombie podcast.
Yeah.
Which is a radio drama, which is really good.
Yeah.
Listen to that if you haven't. They do so much more interesting things with the notion of let's figure out what's going on here. Let's take these very rational precautions. Let's set up shop somewhere. Let's start growing food, stuff like that, which I feel like The Walking Dead does a little bit of, but not much at all.
That's what
they're not trying to find out anything about what's going on in this world.
That's why I started
they're
survival
just
guides.
surviving.
Yeah, because I think there's so much rich, interesting stuff you can do in this world that they just don't, in favor of platitudes about.
Well, it sounds like Kirkman doesn't want to do any of that. He wants this to be, I don't know, a story about just the humanity of these people, not about any logistics whatsoever.
Well, yeah, I don't know, because, obviously the comic keeps moving. The comic's about twice as far ahead in history as where we're at now. And it's, they do explore other things. But yeah, that is definitely
when he says
the
that CDC is the weakest part of the show and he regrets doing it.
Sure.
I think that was pretty interesting, actually.
Yeah.
Those are the kinds of things that I'm sort of on board for as well with the zombie apocalypse.
I made a mistake of being too specific about the science behind it, and yeah, no.
And now we can't have walkers, stealth walkers, and running walkers.
Sure.
And, I don't know.
Lori S says
power walkers.
Power washers. Lori S said, if the finale doesn't open dealing with the major Maggie omission from this episode, then this signals some more napping at the writer's table on Maggie. Why show Maggie listening to Gabriel's revelation to Deanna if that storyline was going to fall by the wayside?
She didn't say anything to Rick?
Not what Gabriel said, but how Maggie handles this information. Unless part of the next episode runs in parallel timeline to this one, we can only assume that this means that Maggie has not gone back and told the group right away about what Gabriel has said. This is huge for me and quite frankly signals treason by Maggie towards her group. Or, which would not surprise me, is just another example of the writers inadvertently creating suspense by forgetting to tie a detail in with the rest of the story.
Yeah.
This is an interesting point, and someone else emailed in with essentially the same point, which is if Deanna is this angry to the point of leaving a perfectly serviceable tuna casserole out on the door and burning notes and, being taken as, why is she so polite to Rick when he shows up at the graveyard?
To
and also
not stir shit up.
If Maggie's told the rest of the group, why is Rick not on like full fucking battle alert from the jump?
No, that's the thing. I don't think she has told the group.
So because the writers forgot about her, because she's honestly not telling them yet.
Because they wanted to tell a different story, and they just decided they're going to do it despite the implications for the story that is going on currently.
Well, but that's
right?
They can't they can't keep doing that.
Oh, they can, and they will. Until this show stops making billions of dollars, they will. Trust me.
Okay, fair point. I'm just saying.
She's right. She's absolutely right. That is bullshit. That Maggie didn't go immediately to Rick and say, Gabriel is a loose cannon. Sure. Gabriel's spouting off nonsense about our group.
Yeah.
Do something about it.
And there's way more.
And even if she did off screen and Rick ignores it, what does that say about Rick?
You know what would have been cool, since they like to jump back and forward in time, if they made it clear that this episode is a flashback that was leading up, like when Deanna came running over to tell Rick to stop, if that was the moment that Gabriel had come to her. Like literally seconds after
Okay.
him going away and said, "You give me a lot to think about," she hears the shouting and running and goes out to sea. That would have been really cool, and that would have neatly explained why they behaved to each other, why they did.
Sure.
I
That
wonder
that
why
would have been cool.
they didn't do that. Got
Because
too burnt from the time jumps last season.
yeah, I don't know.
Lori from Philly said, as a point in general, why Deanna may seem like the voice of reason in dealing with Rick's suggestion, just kill someone if he defies their authority. The truth of the matter is they're not living in a civilized society. Rick's absolutely right and speaks from experience that exiling someone is only going to come back to haunt them, like it did for Carol.
She came back and saved
No,
her ass.
I added that just
I know, yeah.
because I'm like, sometimes we do the same shit we accuse the writers of.
What do you mean?
Like, that is a fine point until you realize that,
that it didn't actually happen that way.
Exactly. You exiled someone, they survived, they came back later, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and everything was just fine.
Anyway, sorry, Lori. Let me continue.
Maybe the wolves are going to come back and save the Alexandrians from a horde of walkers.
That's exactly what you read her mind. Ironically,
really?
For Deanna, her potential exile Rick is probably going to have to save the simpleton Alexandrians when the other exiles come back to attack, which begs the question.
Okay. Yeah.
How in the heck did Deanna's crew muscle out and exile anyone that could possibly have been worth exiling?
Fine.
They're all weaklings. What will be interesting is finding out what exactly these exiles did that warranted being thrown out and what sort of incompetence they must have been if Deanna was capable of exiling them.
They just had the drunken Pete do it. Pete wandered up and said, "You guys need to leave," and then he kind of drunkenly pushed them out the gate.
So they just keep him in a rubber room,
until they need him.
They unleash him when they need the. He's like the dedicated bouncer. He's like the gimp. Okay. Anthony P said, "Why can't this goddamn show just show us anything for once? Sasha loses her shit over Noah, yet we never saw that relationship play out. I wasn't even sure they knew each other's names. It's just assumed that they had a relationship because they were both black, because that's basically how they've written most of the show's black characters. The pattern is a black character dies and a surviving black character loses their shit. It's tiring. I'm tired of seeing emotionally unstable black characters on this show. Even Bob was a jittery, spineless bitch until his final moments."
What? Really? I never had a problem with the way Bob acted.
Yeah, I mean,
he was a little too happy for the scenario, but
well, I mean, he's talking about his alcoholism arc and endangering the group to get his drink on and all that stuff. The only thing is, they've shown enough of like Deshane's, Rick's, Andrea's, and Glenn's of the world that they're a little bit more rainbow spectrum when it comes to people losing their shit. I don't think that any one race has a monopoly on that. But no, totally. I see what your point is, though.
Yeah, Rosita should have had some kind of reaction to Eugene.
Although if she did, would we be saying like, "Oh God, this again"?
Well, you can't have it both ways, right?
I get it.
You can't avoid the "oh God, this again" and still bring up the topic of the relationship they had that we never saw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He continues, Rick and Deanna have this debate over what to do with Pete, where it's just stated how important it is to have a surgeon. In fact, it's so important that a member of Rick's squad, Tara, just came back from a supply run with a major head trauma. Perhaps the writers could help us feel the predicament by showing Pete operate on and save Tara at the top of the episode. Maybe then we as an audience would really feel conflicted. That's a great idea.
That would have been a hell of a better cold open with like Nine Inch Nails playing over the operation of Tara than some candlelight bullshit.
And maybe like all Rick's people watching him save Tara. And then we see that is amazing.
That's the thing, man. We don't care about the Alexandrians very much, right?
Right.
So to show them in the cold open mourning their loss versus our group mourning their loss, why wouldn't they show our group?
And interspersed with Pete save, like if they did that and then interspersed it with Pete saving Tara, I'm like, that's a great.
The listeners are tearing this episode to shreds, and I'm not sure how I feel about it.
No, I'm not backing away. It's a good episode, but they're pointing out how easily it could have been amazing.
Yeah.
Like we've always said, Walking Dead kind of sucks and it could be really good. Now it's getting kind of good, but now it's like, well, now we need to take it to the next level. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, I guess.
It's like, are you ready? Are you willing to settle? Speaking of Pete's abuse for a woman that's supposedly been beaten to the brink of death every day, just never has a mark on her, which we've talked about. He goes on, he thinks they're losing a thread on a rather powerful theme. For a while, I thought the show was going to play with the powerful theme based around the concept of how misunderstandings and mishaps can occur when people are conditioned to rely on their instincts. It helps Rick's group survive without shelter in the apocalypse, but living off instinct doesn't help you much in sheltered communities dominated by interpersonal relationships. This season seemed to be playing this idea up. Terminus was not the sanctuary it seemed to be. Father Gabriel's not the compassionate, level-headed man of God you would assume he is to be. Despite being run by cops and doctors, Slabtown is far from the safest place to be. Eugene turned out to be a liar. Daryl is deeply affected by those around him despite his facade. Carol is crafting an image of herself for the Alexandrians that could be further from the truth. With that in mind, I thought this Jesse storyline would play out differently. And we talked about this last week, how people thought that maybe Jesse will be the abuser, or there'll be some other misunderstanding.
Yeah.
But he says, what do we get instead? A scene where Rick, one, betrays everything about his character as a pure-hearted protector and not just a vengeful side piece, and two, tries to make a power play as the new and thus inherently untrusted sheriff in town. He should have known better than to play it this way. He was lazy as it gets from a plotting perspective, so also the Walking Dead writers could have a fight scene that manufactures drama between two factions. What do you think about this take?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. The more I listen to the listeners justifying Rick's no in that scene, the less on board I am with the idea that it was a total betrayal of his character. But at the same time, it's hard not to see it that way. Yeah, I don't know, man. The show's going to do what it's going to do, and it's going to continue to be Walking Dead. And like I said a few weeks ago, I kind of came to terms with what this show is.
Is it fucking with you that it's been pretty good the last 5 weeks?
I think so, yeah.
We're in the uncanny valley.
We are, where it's definitely not great.
The unshitty valley.
But it's definitely not bad.
It's the unshitty valley. It's not shitty, but it's not shitty.
Yeah. It's not so not shitty as to be good.
Right.
Or great, rather.
Yeah. Matt D has a thought about the wolves. And essentially he's saying you got the wolves, and then inside Alexander you got the sheep. Okay. He wants to know if there's going to be a concept of a wolf in sheep's clothes. Is there someone on the inside of Alexander that we should be worried about? And is that guy
Rick.
Dickless?
It's Rick.
No.
Yeah.
He's not working for the fucking wolves. Get out of here.
No, but he's outside. He's the wolves outside the
What I'm saying is, what I think he's asking,
do you think there's going to be an actual wolf?
Is there a betrayer? And I think that could be Nicholas. That could be why he's stealing guns and stuff like that.
It could be, but it doesn't seem like he is trying to take out his own group. He's really pissed at Glenn right now.
Well, we don't know why. Okay, when Aiden and him were out on that supply run, and I'm thinking off the top of my head, so forgive me, and they lost their 4 people. They didn't say anything about it being zombies. They said it's because they stayed calm and we panicked and shit our pants. What if they met up a wolf scouting group and those guys said that, we will help you when the time comes, give Alexander to you if you let us go? So it's not just a supply run gone bad. It's them being like Benedict Arnold's.
Okay.
And now Nicholas is the last of that, and he's stolen a gun just so he can effect.
So he's the only one of them that didn't get exiled and or killed.
No, I'm saying that the wolves are exiles or whatever, and they were on their supply run, and the wolves ambushed them. And Aiden and Nicholas said that we would help you take over Alexander when you show up, Alexander, in exchange for our lives and maybe positions of power within the community. It's your standard.
I haven't really seen
Grima
anything.
Wormtongue on Lord of the Rings deal.
Yeah, I just haven't seen anything from Nicholas that makes me say he's working against them. Just that he's incompetent.
He's the only one that they've even given a hint of that to, though. So,
yeah, the gun thing is weird, but I could also see it just being him protecting his community against Rick.
Yeah,
and being mad at Glenn.
All right, last non-spoiler one, a philosophical question. Adam J. said, listening to Rick lecture to Alexandrians about doing what's needed to survive made me wonder how our group would have fared if Shane had killed Rick back on the farm. Shane understood how to survive early on, while Rick was a deadly combination of weakness and indecisiveness. Rick was too busy leading walkers into the barn, driving Randall 18 miles out, and farming to make any hard decisions. Shane said it best. Rick, you got a broken woman. You got a weak boy. You ain't got the first clue on how to fix it. I'm confident that Shane's leadership would have saved countless lives and had the group operating as a finely tuned survival force. What do you think?
You could be right. Then again, he could be a little too much of a loose cannon to lead this group.
See, I think Shane, he was so ready to survive that he might have gone over to the governor / Gareth side of things.
I could definitely see that.
Whereas Rick needed the little bit of weakness to kind of allow him to be tempered by people like Bob and Herschel. Shane would never have learned anything from Herschel. Certainly wouldn't have learned anything. He wouldn't have put up with fucking Bob and his alcoholic ways up front. So I think that's part of the story of The Walking Dead is Rick being shaped into the perfect apocalyptic leader that he needs to be, where Shane had a lot of qualities Rick needed, but he didn't have any of the mercy and compassion that you need to actually rebuild a civilization.
Yeah, I don't know that I want President Camacho running the show here, right?
President Lobes.
Like, do I want an actual president who's going to be introspective and think about things before he does them, or do I want President Camacho who's going to wave guns around, fire into the air, and I don't know, chug energy drinks all day,
right,
and scream? I don't want the gung ho guy who's ready to go out and kill everything to be the leader,
right?
Yeah, I mean, you need to have guys like that, I think.
You do.
But you also need the guy who's going to wrangle them.
And that guy has to be respected by the latter guys. And I think that's who Rick is now.
I think so. Well, he's losing people now. But
sure.
I think going into this situation, that's definitely who he was.
Right. I mean, what's going to have to happen is the Alexandrians are going to have to be blooded a bit. And then he'll be seen as the warrior king that he is. Because right now he has to
justify his attitude.
Right now, this town needs Batman, and they're settling for Harvey Dent.
And they don't think they need Batman.
No, and Two-Face is going to show
Mr.
up,
Rogers.
and then it's going to be Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah,
and Nolan, all that stuff.
Everybody's going to throw up the bat signal.
Yeah,
say, "Where's Batman? Help us!"
Yeah, and Rick will look down and whisper, "No." That's it for the feedback. I probably didn't even get to read a third of it. I apologize in advance for everyone that missed a cut. But if you'd like to try next week, sure it'll get much easier in the finale. You can do so at watchingdead@baldmove.com, on forums at forums.baldmove.com. If you want to discuss with your fellow fans and listeners, you can keep up with our release schedule on facebook.com/baldmove and on Twitter @baldmove.
Oh, yeah.
We're ready for a spoiler section. We're actually going to talk about previews for the first time in a long time because they're kind of interesting.
Indeed. All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening. We'll be back right after the episode next week or during it if you're a Club Bald Move member.
Yeah.
Until then, I'm Jim.
I'm Aaron. See ya.
And we're back with the spoiler section. What do we have this week?
Let's talk about the preview because it kind of dovetails into what I want to talk about with my theory about Rick and Father Gabriel. I think
let's talk about Rick
because we see a picture of Father Gabriel. I think walking out of the walls and he's been defrocked. He's just wearing a t-shirt and jeans.
Well, he did burn his collar,
but he's got it back.
Oh, so now he's just in t-shirt and jeans.
He's in t-shirt. He's
been
officially
priest.
I think that Deanna might kick them both out. Like, you're a rat and you're a psycho. Go forth.
Those are equal in my mind. Goodbye.
Yeah.
It could be. I don't know. It's hard to tell if Rick actually gets kicked out, and I know they don't want to give that away. But there's a lot of speech over the top of some images of Rick with, his bandaged face and him kind of handling a knife. And it sounds...
But he also looks like he's being escorted out like a group of dudes with assault rifles, and he's unarmed, and he's not in a sheriff's uniform.
I think he's doing the walk of shame right out the gates.
Yeah. But do you think the wolves are going to show up as soon as that happens?
It could. Aaron and Daryl could contact them and come back right as Rick is being escorted out. It's tough to say. The other thing that makes me think that Daryl's going to get, or sorry, not Daryl, Rick is going to get exiled is because Deanna's saying, let's talk about Rick. She's going to the entire group here and saying, we need to do something about this guy. So definitely they're going to deal with that. And I mean, this preview is kind of why I say Morgan can't be dealt with this season. Because they don't hint at anything that would make me think
I get it.
Morgan is on his way back.
The only reason I think Morgan needs to be dealt with is because otherwise it just seems so fucking stupid, those teasers last, especially since they're
I agree, yeah.
so out of time too.
They mean nothing. They mean nothing if they don't show something about him.
In fact, I'm going to have the grimmest, most bitter laugh if they just have another post credits Morgan sequence at the end of this finale
where he's taking his gloves off.
Yeah, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
Shall we get to the feedback, or you got some more stuff on the?
I just don't think they showed us the most important parts.
What about Glenn sobbing
episode.
in the dark?
Glenn sobbing in the dark.
Do you think Maggie gets killed somehow?
Maybe.
Like, what would cause him to sob like that?
How about this? Maggie goes to Rick and says, Gabriel has ratted us out.
Yeah.
Deanna finds out about that and exiles all three of them. I think Glenn goes with her, though. I don't think Glenn would stay in that town if Maggie got exiled.
Yeah, you're right. Even if she ordered him to.
Yeah.
I mean,
he would say, fuck you, I'm going out.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm going to get my gun, and I'm leaving.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know, because I'm super worried about Aaron and Daryl being this close. So there's two ways this could go. If the wolves are the saviors, then Daryl and or Aaron are going to die. Like, I don't see any way around it.
Why do you say that? They can't come back with the wolves?
Well, I don't think they are, because I believe, and I think someone even mentioned this in the spoiler section before, is that there is a group of toughs. Maybe they're just a band of the saviors and they're not the main force. But someone shows up to Alexander to try to take it over, and Rick and company successfully repel them. And also they get overrun by zombies and all that. And what that does is it has at number one, instantly makes everything better for the Alexandrians, because now Rick has saved them. This is
He's
proof.
Proved his point. Yeah.
This has proved his point, and they've kind of made their point, and now Rick is kind of the de facto leader of at least the military aspect of the operation. And it also proves Rick's point that his people are badasses, and they are just as good at taking care of things, and there's no way that any evil person could possibly have the organization skills to oppose a well-armed, well-skilled group of do-gooders.
Unless they have a tiger.
And then Negan shows up.
Okay.
And his overconfidence is his weakness, and, Alderaan gets exploded.
All right. Cool.
And Alderaan equals Glenn's head.
They've got to show a Walker attack, right? Or a wolf attack. One of the two.
Yeah, honestly.
Both, I hope.
I think what we might get next episode is a tease of the wolves being at the gate. Like literally, Rick gets exiled.
Where did the budget go for this season? Into the pockets of the executives?
Maybe the writers for the last 5 episodes, because they've been damn good.
They haven't been that good.
But
they've been good, but they haven't been great.
We're turning into the Muppet guys. This is a pretty good episode. Yeah, it's not bad. Well, it wasn't good either. It's kind of horrible. It stinks. Boo, boo. Waldorf, and what's the other guy's name?
I don't fucking know, man.
You don't know the old dudes? The balcony
I know the balcony creepers, yeah, but I don't.
Oh, now they're creepy?
Well, no.
I don't know if I agree with that characterization.
Old codgers. I don't know.
Codgers?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they go, maybe they deal with the wolves, and Rick just kicks their ass in, and then then they have the massive zombie horde.
That's what I'm hoping.
Closing in on the city, and that's what we end with. Like, we're going to gear up for a big season 6 opening battle. That would be cool too.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I really hope something exciting happens next episode.
I think we're in. I think this podcast beat you down, man.
I don't know what to think anymore, man. I go into this thinking, oh man, this was a pretty good episode, and then the listeners come in and say, "Fuck this, fuck that," and I'm all twisted up.
We've gotten soft. We're like Carol. We've raised a school of fucking psychopaths, and now they're just knifing people left and right, and they're playing tag with zombies. What have we done? What have we done?
Created a monster.
Look at the flowers, spoiler listeners. Look at the flowers. Steve F said, kind of word for Carol and Daryl because Norman Reedus and Melissa McBride are listed for next week on the Talking Dead after show, and someone's got to die in a season finale. Right. But they're actually named, which means they're safe. They're safe as kids.
They're not special guests.
They're not special guests. But
Yeah.
there is going to be a special guest, he says.
Boy.
He's hoping that someone like Diana getting killed by Pete, like she does in this, well, kind of like, I guess, happens in the, not exactly, it's a Kirkman remix. Diana or Reg could be killed by Pete the next episode.
I hope it's Reg.
I
mean,
I do too.
For as much as, we give Deanna some shit, I think she's a more interesting character at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Even though she, her poker player skills are kind of wearing thin on us.
When Pete stabs him to death, he'd be like, that's chromium steel, if I'm not mistaken. Number enter. I found it interesting, too, that it's Diana that said Pete will have a choice of exile or death, because in the comics, it's Rick that says that, and the TV Rick is a bit more extreme nowadays, it seems. Last week, I gave you my choice for Negan as Ray Stevenson. We didn't know much about him, but he says he actually played the Punisher in Punisher Warzone. He played Firefly in the latest G.I. Joe movie. He also played a major villain in Dexter Season 7.
I've seen none of that.
Yeah, me either, which is why we didn't recognize him.
Yep.
But he says a sadistic badass is perfectly in his range. That's what you need for Negan.
Take your word for it.
Keithy A said, do we think the blender gun will be used to maim Carl as he was in the comics? I highly doubt the show would go there as they avoided Rick's arm, but I'm not sold 100%. That would be pretty rad if Dickless went to shoot at Rick and shot Carl instead.
Mm-hmm.
Or vice versa, with went to shoot Glenn and shot Maggie instead.
All right. And then either way, he gets beaten to death immediately afterward, right?
If there's any justice in the world.
Yeah. Okay.
Show's got too much justice, too much civilization, not enough justice. Ashley H said, as we know, Pete dies after killing Douglas's wife in the comics, but I think it'd be interesting if he lives instead. Jesse will probably still die, similarly to how she does in the comic book. In fact, I'd say her fate was sealed when Rick promised he could keep her safe. Good point.
He's never been able to do
when
that.
When he said, I can keep you and your boys safe, I'm like, oh.
You mean like you did your wife?
Yeah, uh-huh. And your child for the whole half season, you lost her and assumed she was dead.
Uh-huh.
So you'd have Pete in a situation where he'd lose his entire family. Maybe Sam goes to Carol and she has to explore the idea of having a kid to take care of again. Another mentally disturbed child. That would be very interesting. Like what mistakes?
Yeah, he's definitely gravitating toward her.
What would she do differently if she had a disturbed child that she had to raise? Maybe she just goes right
a lot
to the
more
flowers.
Cookies.
She just goes right to the flowers.
Look at the casserole, Sam.
Look at the cookies, Sam. But with the more compelling part for me, with Pete being the only surgeon, is if and when Carl gets shot. I'd kind of love seeing Rick have to rely on this man to save his own son after ruining his life and leaving his wife to die. Do you think they could be a remix you could get on board with?
Yeah.
Yes. Like if they somehow find a way to imprison Pete and Carl gets shot and we get a scene of him with Carl's body in his hands and you've got to save him.
Why should I?
Because I will beat you to death. I will pistol whip every tooth out of your mouth.
Really? You'll beat to death the only man who could save him?
Well, if you're going to let my son die, then yes, I will. If he dies, you die too.
You go immediately to beating to death, not trying to coerce him in another way.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm a father, man.
Never to cross
I'm a father.
Jesus.
I have my child bleeding in my hands, and I need you to fix him. I will kill you. Yes, I will.
All right.
Olivia D said, we know Dickless has possession of the blender gun. In the preview of next week, there is a short glimpse of someone passing a similar-looking gun to another person. Could this be Dickless aiming Porch Dick, or also known as Pete?
Okay.
PDE. You got Dickless and Pete. We've got an impressive menagerie of nicknames going on now.
Yeah.
Which would result in someone like Reg being shot during another confrontation with Rick. In the comic, Pete ends up cutting Douglas's wife, Regina's throat, killing her during a second fight with Nick. This results in Douglas ordering Rick to shoot Pete, leading to the next part of my email. This is a good point. I like this, that Dickless could give the thing to Pete.
Yes. With
Dickless thinking he's going to murder Rick, which would end their regime, then Pete fucking it up.
Yeah, shooting Carl or whatever.
Or Reg, I think. would get in
Shooting
there.
Reg. Okay.
Yeah, and then that would make Deanna be like, "Fuck this guy."
Yeah, and in the preview, it is someone with a bandaged hand. So it's got to either be Rick passing his gun off to someone else, because he has a small gun that looks kind of like that.
Well, wait.
Or getting.
Did it have a? Because do you remember? Was it a revolver or an automatic? A semi-automatic? Okay, so we actually paused this and then watched the scene in question, and it is not a revolver. So you can't see if it's got a J on it or not. You can't conclusively prove that it's the blender gun, but you can't rule it out.
It's almost certainly okay. So it is someone handing a gun to what looks like Michonne, given that she's wearing the constable outfit here. She's got the tie and everything. So it's got to be Rick. The person has a bandaged hand. It's got to be Rick handing Michonne a gun.
Okay. It's not the gun he's been keeping in his belt, though.
Probably not.
Well,
it's probably just him saying, you know what, you got to get back on this horse. And because she really didn't want to put that uniform on last time. Maybe there's some other issue. Maybe this looks like it's completely out of context with what we think it is.
Right on.
So...
All right, moving on to her second point. Says people have been speculating about the wolves and who they could be. I think the DC scavengers are the wolves. In the comic, the scavengers are only around for a couple of issues before being drawn to the Alexander safe zone by a gunshot.
Drawn by Kirkman? Or no, I guess not Kirkman, yeah.
No.
It's David Adler or whatever his name is.
Allard or whatever. When their leader, Derek, approaches the gate, he says, little pig, let me in," which is a well-known line spoken by the big bad wolf from Three Little Pigs. Is this Gimple's way of giving this group a name and hyping up the Scavengers' short-lived storyline by making them seem like a bigger threat before Rick and company regulate on them? If so, I'm hoping they can knock this out quickly in the show so the gunfire will attract a mega herd, fulfilling Jim's wish. Okay.
I hope so.
Now that I've heard that I've been refamiliarized with little pig, let me in, the wolves thing makes a lot of sense. So now I'm positive these aren't the saviors. This is the subgroup.
Okay.
So, and yeah.
But have those people in the comic been exported by
killed.
Deanna?
No, they just got killed. Or maybe Rick made
No. I mean, how did they form? Are they comprised of people who've been exiled from Alexandria in the comic?
Think so. But again,
okay.
I haven't read that plot in years. So
all right.
What I'm going to do, I think, because it doesn't take very long to blow through like 20 comic books, is between next week's show and the wrap-up show, I'm going to reread that whole thread.
Okay.
And kind of, but I felt like it was the right play to not. I have been rereading them right before the season, and it's just been fucking up my expectations. So I stopped doing that this time around. Nick A said, after watching this week's episode and interviews with Norman Reedus and Michael Cudlitz, who said the finale will have you in tears and will also piss you off, I have a few predictions. First, I think Rick gets banished, but is not allowed to take Carl and Judith.
This not allowed shit is not right, man. Like, how are you not going to allow this group to give this man his son and his daughter?
Well, if Carl wants to go, I don't see how they stop him. Actually, I do see how they stop him, but I don't think they would do it. But not letting him take Judith, I think they could get away with, because what's Judith going to do?
Yeah, you would have to assume that the group has completely turned against Rick.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's
his own group.
Realistically, I can't believe Glenn, Michonne, Carol, Abraham, Rosita, hell, even down to Eugene and Tara would stand and let that happen.
Yeah. I mean, they've seen Rick.
I honestly don't see them letting them exile Rick, if you want to be honest. Like, Michonne is going to clock him out to protect himself and protect Alexandria's from him.
Yeah. But just diffuse the situation.
And Daryl coming back. Hey, where's Rick? I bet. What the? Nah.
And you kept Carl and Judith here? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I mean, I guess they could do that, but man, that would be such a betrayal from Rick's people.
It'd be a stretch. They would need to really set it up with a lot of, I don't know, a lot of conversation about them not agreeing with Rick.
You know what?
Decisions.
What'd be cold smack is if the group takes exception and the Carol steps forward and says, "Well, he banished me when I was a threat."
Mm-hmm.
That would be, and it would be cold, true, and kind of deserved. Because I still never agreed with Rick making that decision on his own.
She did say that she forgave him.
I get it. But in this
That would be a little
circumstance-
petty to come in and just say, "Oh yeah," and also this.
But she's not saying it like in judgmental. She's just pointing out the fact that, look, we've made these hard decisions before.
Mhm.
Do you want to all leave with Rick? Do you want to take this over? Can we take? I mean, I don't know. You're right.
Holding
It's
Glenn.
a fine. I don't
and
envy the writers.
Judith.
If they want to exile Rick, I don't envy them trying to navigate. Although they'll just plow right through. I'm sure.
Yeah,
They'll just do whatever, and we'll have to try
run
to
a
explain
tank
it.
through the plot.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's his first prediction. Rick is banished but not allowed to take his kids. Second, as Rick fights for his kids, Daryl joins him and ultimately gets killed either by an Alexandrian, perhaps Dickless, or mistakenly by Michonne as she tries to interject her side of Deanna. I think Daryl's safe. He's
You totally changed your tune on that.
only because he's a named guest on fucking The Talking Dead.
All right. Is it? I don't know. Maybe that's their game.
Well, I mean, if so, hats off to you, Kirkman. We'll see. Jake T, I have a theory about where the show is going. I saw that they haven't cast anyone yet for Negan. I'm thinking that it's going to be Rick. This is a crazy out there theory, but it's so crazy I wanted to read it.
Okay.
Let's say that Rick gets banished for this season finale on Sunday. The next season will start 1 year from that time, and Alexander will be larger and thriving. Glenn and Michonne will be in charge of the constable duties, and life will be good. The first episode will progress and introduce new characters, and everything will be fine. But in the last shot, a foot will come into frame, and it will be Rick Grimes. The second episode, he comes to town, demands supplies, and then proceeds to deal the head blow to Glenn with his bat.
Leather biking jacket.
This would kind of be awesome if they actually, we've seen these anti-hero shows where
Rick
it's
just
like
full loses his mind.
Yeah, you got like Don Draper and Walter White and Tony Soprano where they're bad guys, but you also still kind of feel sympathetic to them.
The anti-hero sort of deal.
And they've either died or their story's in. But what if a show wanted to go super far out there with their concept and be like, we'll have the guy turn into an anti-hero, he'll become the villain, and then he'll become a regular guest recurring star as the chief villain going forward. Has that ever happened outside of like a soap opera?
I doubt it.
That could happen though. Like in real life, people make big changes like that.
Sure. I don't know how I would feel about that.
Yeah,
I feel like that's one of the things we would call bullshit on.
That's the thing, Jake. I say it's crazy because I can't imagine them taking their cash cow and tipping over the tables that far. Like negligent, sure, just something that ballsy and crazy. But I think the idea is really cool.
Negan's still around in the comics, right? So it's not like this would shorten the life of Rick as a character.
No, it would just radically change him.
Yeah,
it'd be the remix of all remixes. It'd be the gray. The Gray album, man.
Pretty much. Yep.
That's all the feedback we got in spoilers.
Okay.
And thank God because I'm losing my voice.
Yeah, I am too. Thanks everybody for listening. I guess we'll be back next week.
If we don't die of whatever we're both apparently coming down from simultaneously.
I think.
No more open mouth kissing.
All right.
This weekend was the last time. It's just too much communicable disease.
Okay. I can get down with that.
All right.
Sure. Well, we were stuck in a tree together for a long time, so what'd you expect? All right, see you guys.
Bye-bye.